Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another makeup tutorial on this look here. It is very similar to what I was wearing in my Darlings and Duds video. Many of you commented on it, so I wanted to recreate this look because I think it's relatively easy and neutral, but I do have just a little bit of a pop of color. So if you're new here, be sure you hit that subscribe button, and now let's get started. All right, jumping right into it, I already applied the Thrive Cosmetics 360 Eye Lift Waterproof Primer, and I also added just a little bit on the outer part of my lower lash line. So now I'm going to try to just stick with this one palette today. This is the ColourPop Wild Nothing palette. I'm going to use my Sigma E50 and use this shade. Now this shade, if you look close, it does have some specks of glitter. So we're gonna really make sure we tap off our brush. And I'm just gonna go lightly right under the brow bone here, just to give a little bit of lift there under the arch of the brow. Next, taking a BK Beauty 201, I'm going to start off with this shade right here, which is a real pale peach color, and it's called Top Down. And I'm going to use this first through the top of the crease and blend it up towards that brow bone highlight shade. And when I use multiple colors in the crease, it just helps with blending once we get to the deeper colors. So you can certainly skip this step, but you may have to do more blending with the next shade or two. Now on that same brush, I'm going to go in with this shade now, and this is called Morningside. So going to tap the brush in that and real lightly. These are pretty soft and a little bit powdery, but they're very pigmented. So just know that you're probably gonna need to tap off your brush if you don't wanna have excessive fallout. So now I'm just going pretty much where we placed that peach shade, but a little bit lower into the crease. And you can see that brought quite a bit more peach color to the look. And then what I did in that other video is I added just a touch of this mauve shade. So that is the shade Hot Springs. And I did this just to kind of cool it down slightly. So I'm just placing that right in the outer corner and real lightly. So I mean real light pressure on the brush. And you can see it just added a little bit of depth and coolness there in the outer corner. Now I'm going to go in with the darkest shade of the palette, and this is the 204 brush from BK Beauty. And we're going to use this. Now, you can easily get out of control with this. I'm gonna try to just keep this right here to the outer corner. So I don't want too much darkness here in the outer corner, but because I have hooded eyes and I also have a downturned eye here, this helps kind of create a crease here, like the illusion of a crease, a little more of a lift here in the outer corner. And then it definitely helps lift the eye on this side as well. So I'm just angling this up towards the brow, just going in with little bits at a time. And I am kind of bringing this along the upper lash line as well. And then just feathering it towards the center of the lid there. And then as I get to the crease, I'm going to work it into the crease and just a little bit above, and then I need to look straight ahead and make sure I can see that shadow above the crease. And that's how I know I brought it up high enough. And then once that color is placed, I'm going to switch to a small, slightly fluffy brush. This is the M506 from Morphe. And what I'm going to do is a combination of this dark brown with a little bit of these two shades. So I'm going to start in the peach, the pink, and then just a touch in the brown, tap off and then use this to really lightly blend that outer corner dark shade kind of into the crease and onto the lid. For our lid shades, I'm gonna start with this, which is a Super Shock shadow formula. So it's kind of like a cream to powder. And this particular one, what's it called? Spirited. It doesn't have a real intense base color. So it is more sparkly, but because of the formulation, I feel like this works well as a topper, or you can use it as a base to kind of give the shadow that we put on top of it just a little extra something to stick to. So I'm placing that about 2/3 of the way across the lid, and I did do about 2 layers. I'll wipe off that finger, and now I'm going to go in with this shade right here. This is a really smooth, buttery, kind of slightly metallic, or more of a pearlized finish. And this is the shade Coastline. Now I'm going to take that right over the top of where we did that Super Shock shadow. And this just really brings a nice bit of brightness to the lid. And then to just pop on a tiny bit of peachy pink, I'm gonna go in with the shade right below it, which is called Alcove. And I'm really just, you can see that color there, I'm just tapping this real lightly. It's going to make a subtle shift in the color. You could go in full on with this if you wanted more peach, but I think that adds just enough of a peachy pink shift to that lid shade. And then I'll go back and just touch up the depth there in the outer corner with this dark shade, which is No Bounds. And I'm just going to kind of feather this over those shimmer shades and into the lashes. We are going to apply a little bit of liner, but this just kind of helps kind of soften the look of that liner once we get it on. Okay, let's go to the lower lash line. Now I did something a little bit fun in that video. It was very subtle, but that's kind of how I like to use bright colors like teal. Now I did use an eyeshadow for that look, but I'm gonna use a liner so that I don't have to pull in another eyeshadow palette. This is the Urban Decay Mainline Eye Pencil, and I'm just going to work a little bit of this along the lower lashes here. And I am going to smudge it in with my finger. And then because I just wanted to play around, I'm going to go in now with this shimmery green shade. And this is going to just kind of dial back that blue color. And I don't know, I kind of liked the mix. Now I did use, in that video, I used the green shade from the e.l.f. New Classics palette. So if you have that, you could use that if you're not working from this palette. But you can see that kind of slight little bit of green mixed with that teal. It just lightens it up, so it's not quite as intense and harsh as the liner by itself. And then what I did in that video as well, because you know I was trying to use a lot of the products that I was talking about, I went in with this Pixie Silky Eye Pen, and this is the shade Rose Gold. So I want to show you how unique this shade is. So I'm going to put this in my waterline. Now, when I say in my waterline, I like to personally just keep this close to the lash line. I don't take it all the way across. Because I wear hard contacts, I find it can get all over those and just make for a troublesome day with contact wearing. So then I'm going to take my Morphe M432, and I'll first just kind of work that shade into the lash line. And then I'm going to top it with just a little bit of shadow. I'll just use a little bit of this, and then I'll work in some of the dark shades. So the lighter shade is called Vagabond, and you want to tap off your brush and then just set this right into the lashes. And it just helps set that pencil in place for longer wear. And then I'll take just a little bit of the deep shade No Bounds, and just use this right on the outer corner here below the lashes, because this will help us tie in our upper lash line once we put our liner on up there. All right, so we have a little bit of color and interest on the lower lash line. All right, the final step for the eyes before mascara is to add a little bit of eyeliner. So I used the Benefit Roller Lash Liner, and this is just in brown. So it is a nice deep brown. I would say it's slightly lighter than the KVD Mad Max brown, but very close. And I'm just keeping this super tight to the lash line. And then I think I'm just going to do a tiny little bit of a flick up here, and that's it. Now I should mention this is super easy to use, but it is not waterproof. So if you need waterproof liquid liner, then go with the KVD Mad Max Brown. All right, time to clean up under the eyes with a little bit of almond oil, and then we will finish up the rest of the face. Okay, I went ahead and applied my mascara. This is the Lancome Sills Booster XL. Used that and It Cosmetics Superhero on the upper lashes. And then I used the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions on the lower lashes. That is a different combination than I used in that Darlings and Duds video, but if you watch that, you'll know why. Okay, now for my contour, I've not yet powdered my skin, so I'm gonna go in with the Patrick Ta She's Sculpted. This is the cream contour and bronzing powder. So I'm going to use the cream contour on the Sigma F04 brush. This is just a perfect size to get right under the cheekbone without going too far above it. And you can just see in that video, I mentioned just how natural this color is. And it just really does a good job of just creating a slight little hint of shadow. Now this is the medium color, I believe. I think there's one deeper and one lighter, I think. So I felt like this was kind of a different shade than I had in my collection already, because sometimes I like to just go in with a much deeper shade, but you can see how nice and sculpted yet very natural. It doesn't look very harsh. So I'll put a little bit of this along the jawbone here. And then I'll also use a little bit of this around the hairline. And then I'll use a little bit of this along the sides of the nose. And then what I did for that video, and I'm kind of liking using this palette this way, is I used the E4 from Morphe, and before powdering over that cream contour, I went in now with the bronzing powder and just very lightly tapped over that. And I just really liked how it kind of immediately sets that sculpting or contouring shade in place, but also adds that little bit of bronzing. And because the face has not yet been set with powder, I feel like it grabs the pigment a little bit more, and yet it doesn't look patchy or anything. So anyway, I just thought I would use kind of the same concept that he recommends for his blush duos with the contouring, and I think it works nicely. Next, I'll go ahead and powder. Today, I'm just gonna use the Becca Hydra Mist because I have a brand new one. I have my stockpile, so I thought I might as well break it out and use it. And then I just realized I have this sitting here. I forgot to apply this. Oh, I guess this would be a good test, right? See if it disturbs our makeup. Usually I like to apply these things before powder. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Actually, it's not too bad. I don't think it's lifting the foundation or anything. Okay, phew. Okay, so just tapping that on. And by the shade, the way I have the shade 01 Light, there is a 00 Fair. I found that online, but neither of the stores that I looked in had that shade, but all of the other shades are quite a bit darker. So for blush, I combined these two Essence blushes. So the pink one is Beloved, and this more neutral shade is Bespoke. And so I'll start with Bespoke on that Morphe E4. And it's just gonna enhance the color a little bit from that bronzer. Just add a little bit of some warmth and pink tones. Now going in with this. Again, real light. These are very pigmented and they do have quite a bit of a satin sheen. So if you only do matte blushes, you won't like this. But there's no sparkle, so I think it's actually quite lovely on the skin. Love that. Okay, now let's finish up the eyes with inner corner highlight. Going back to our palette, I'm going to use this shadow right here with the Sigma E30, and that shadow, by the way, is called Coastline. So let's just put a little bit of this on the inner corner, freshen that up a little bit. Okay, just wiping off the Buxom Lip Plumper that I had on, and now I'm going to go around the edge with the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. And then for my lip combination, I'm going to use the Buxom Powerline. This is the Plumping Lip Liner in Hush Hush Henna. For lipstick, I'm using the Smashbox Be Legendary lipstick, and this is in the shade Level Up. And then just gonna tap on a little bit of the Buxom Gloss in Pippa Pumpkin, because I just can't resist the scent of this gloss. And here is our finished look. So overall, a pretty neutral look, but that little pop of color on the lower lash line adds a little bit of interest and fun to the look. As always, I will list and link all of the products I used in today's video in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure you give it a thumbs up on your way out, and I'll see you next time. Bye.